Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for Pilates All Levels. My name is Audra, and today we're going to use a TheraBand and a ball. If you don't have a TheraBand, it is okay. You can kind of finagle a mini band, or you can get rid of it. You don't have to use it. And if you don't have a ball, you can fold a pillow a couple times. As always, listen to your body. Don't do anything that doesn't feel right. And we're going to go ahead and get started. So go ahead and move the band out of the way, but have it within grabbing distance. We're going to start with the ball behind our thoracic. Start by getting a little bit of spinal movement. So lie down. So you're in a relatively comfortable position here, right? And then think about lengthening your ears to the sky and sinking your ribs down towards your belly button. And then think about sinking your belly button down so much that you're pushing the ball away from you a little bit. Now, Nancy, come up towards your knees. Nope, bring your head towards your knees. There you go. And then slowly, slowly, slowly extend. And you can let your whole spine move, but I want you to focus on that thoracic. So your rib cage, and then belly button in, curl forward. Yeah. And then slowly come down. Good. Two more, just starting to let the spine loosen up a little bit. And then come back to center. Now just slide your ribs slightly from side to side. It's not a big move. We're trying to keep those hips nice and still and stable. Hello, you made it. Ball in a band, TheraBand, not mini band. Good, just two more. And Daniela, bring your rib cage up just a little bit toward, or your sternum. Yeah, good. And then come back to center. And just let one side kind of rotate down. And then back to center. Rotate instead of side bend. So think of, nope, instead of bringing your shoulder to your hip, let the shoulder go to the floor. And then back. Yeah. So to the floor. So collarbone is going to point the side you're rotating towards. Hey, Nancy, instead of making a rainbow shape with your body, come back to center. Now think about your right armpit, or sorry, your left armpit rotating towards Elizabeth. Now hold there. Let your left elbow and armpit drop down towards the floor. Keep going, keep going. Yeah, but keep rotating. Perfect. And then other side. Good. I know it's a little different. No, we don't. Yeah. Nope. We're doing something slightly different. Getting a little bit more spinal movement rather than just abs. Don't worry, we'll still feel our abs. Coming back to center when you are ready. Now we're going to make a rainbow shape. So we're going to bring that armpit up and over. Come back to center. Other side. And just feel how the spine moves differently with each of those types of moves, and how your muscles, even though we're trying to kind of stay a little soft, how they start to connect a little bit, right? Even if we're not squeezing them, hopefully they're still starting to work. And back. Come back to center. Go ahead, get as close to the ball as it feels comfortable with your extension, and let your whole spine move. Good. Now when you breathe kind of low, and then exhale, draw your ribs down towards your belly button. So pardon me, we're in a neutral. On your exhale, maintain your neutral. Imagine your sternum is just hovering. Good. And then relax. And again. And so instead of arching, we're just coming to neutral and then lifting. Yeah, and then neutral and lift. 2 more. Hold for 4. Everybody trembling. 3, 2, and slowly extend. Good. Allow one leg to slide away from you. And we're going to slide the heel in as we curl up. Good. And extend. Beautiful. Now you can extend your other leg if you like. You just might change the way your hips pull on your pelvis, right? It's not a bad thing, it's just a thing. So whatever feels better for you today. Leg extended is also a little less stable. 2 more. Last one on this side. How's everybody's abs? They kicking on? Yeah, other side. If they're not, think about using your breath to engage your transversus abdominis and your pelvic floor. Good. Just a few more here. 3, 2. Last one. Good. As long as it still feels good, extend both legs out, extend over the ball. On your next exhale, you can slide both of your feet in as you curl forward. And then slide both of your feet out. Drag the heels in. Yeah. And then slide them out. So we're using the mat to create a little bit more proprioceptive awareness and to get our hamstrings on. So if you can, actually push your heels down and away and then down and in, like almost like you're trying to drag your mat towards you. Yeah. So if you can, actually try to get that mat to move with your feet, because that's how much we're pushing into the ground. Good. 2. Last one. Hold. Come up onto your toes, float your legs up. And then slide them out. Slide them back in, float them up. Good. Now, as you do this, see if you can curl a tiny bit closer to your knees. Everybody doing okay? I know this is a lot of work. If at any point you need to just hang out, that's okay. We have 3 more. And 2. Last one. Both feet down. Go ahead, slide down and just get a little bit thoracic extension. Let your abs relax entirely. And then you can curl a little bit closer to the ball as you curl up. Good. Now bring your hands forward and bring your feet closer to you. Push your fingertips into an imaginary surface. Good. And then hands back behind your head if it's appropriate. Daniela, I think you need to slide just this far away from your ball. Yeah, there you go. Good. Now, instead of that big rotation where we dipped our shoulder down, we're just rotating. Hold, bring your hands forward. Push them forward. See if you can lift a little higher. Yeah. And then other side. So you can either keep your hands forward. Try not to extend over the ball here. We're not arching over the ball. We're keeping ourselves elevated. We're just rotating. Or hands behind your head, rotate, lift a little higher, keep it there. That's much harder. So see what you can do. Try not to, yeah. So Hold there, Heather, curl towards me a little bit more. Maintain that, don't move. Nope, yeah, that. Stephanie, curl a little bit more, belly button in, yes, there. So good. It's hard to stay up. Last one each side. And then slide your hips away, extend. Nice job, you guys. I know those are no joke. Go ahead, curl up all the way. Now we're gonna put the prop in between our knees, hands behind our thighs, and just curl back until you are behind your tailbone. And then inhale, exhale, squeeze the ball and relax halfway. So if you're up on your sits bones, that's fine. If you are behind your tailbone, that's great. But what I don't want is being on the tailbone and leaning back. That's a lot in the hip flexors and low back. So we're trying to find our abdominals here. Squeeze the prop, shoulder blades melted out of the ears, not forced down, just gently. Nancy, curl your ribs. Yep, so you can bend your elbows a little. Yeah, yes. Do you feel how that's less in your neck? Yeah, so nice soft elbows if we can. If they're locked out and we're here, it's just a lot on the shoulders. Now, you can either stay here or on your next exhale, just let go with one hand. Sit. Then grab again. Shoulder blade draws down because we're activating that lat and serratus. Yeah. Shoulders melted, soft elbows. Nancy, soft elbows. Yeah. Imagine that you just don't want somebody to get super close to you, so you're going to press your elbows out so you've got just a little bit more bubble space. Daniela, melt your shoulders out of your ears. There you go. Now, if that feels good and you'd like more work, both arms forward. And we slowly take one out to the side. Good. And back. If your hip flexors start kicking on too much, squeeze the ball more. Think about your deep abdominals more. And if it's still a lot, bring a hand to your thigh. That's okay. Doing okay, Heather? Okay, I know it's hard. It's a lot of work. We have just a couple more. Good. Now, just for fun, go ahead, come on up. I saw that eye roll. Like it was like a contagion. Everybody was like, ah, fun. Okay, now just for fun, we're going to pre-engage our lats, and then we are going to actually use these muscles to push into our knees. So think about just bringing your forearms to your knees, shoulders melted out of the ears, and then from your abs and your lats and your serratus, you're going to push down into the elbows. Do you feel how everything just kind of connects a little bit? Okay, relax. Do it again. So it's kind of like when we squeezed the ball and then stopped squeezing the ball. Same thing. Muscles activate, relax. Press down and relax. One more. Push down, just a tiny bit less than your full press, and start to roll back until your hands get close to your knees, possibly a little lower. Now push your hands into your thighs, and then instead of grabbing, just blade hands, push, and then you're going to slightly push your knees into your hands, so you've got that connection. Good. Now we bring one arm up and bring it down, and push and up. The push is where the work is, right? Good. Looking forward instead of up. Good. Thinking about your shoulder blade rotating around your ribs, and then your arm comes along for the ride. Not about getting your arm up, it's about rotating the shoulder blade. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Last one. And then slowly roll the rest of the way down. Nice work, you guys. Slide your feet in a bit so your knees are to the sky. And if your lower back was like, oh, I was helping, take your hands, place them on your thighs, gently push your hands into your thighs. Now, just bring your hands to your hip bones and without force, okay? We're just gonna let our spine move, okay? So don't think about gripping anything. We're just gonna let our hip bones melt towards our face, low back melts down, and then come back to center. When you come back to neutral, your sits bones are not pointing towards the ground. They're just shining towards the wall away from you, like car headlights, right? And then let your hip bones melt towards your face, spine melt towards the ground, and then back to neutral. So car headlights forward. When you imprint gently, car headlights slightly up, and then back down. Give me just a couple more like this. Now, just imprint and then neutral. We don't need to arch, unless your body really needs to arch. But in an ideal world, we're just going to imprint and then neutral. And then on your next imprint, hold. And just think about pushing into your feet and imagine peeling your spine up as if you were peeling a sticker off the wall, but without a lot of force, right? It's a sticker that you put on the wall and then immediately took off. It didn't have time to really coagulate, right? And then melt and roll, just letting everything relax. Two more. And honestly, if you're not able to fully articulate one bone at a time, I'm not that worried about it right now, right? In fact, just let the tissue of your low back melt and then peel. And then on the way down, just relax from your throat and your sternum and let the tissue of your low back melt into the floor. Last one, as you come up and down. Now on this next one, let's engage our transversus abdominis before we move. So think about on your exhale, your ribs gently pull down towards your belly button, not the floor, just the belly button. Your hip bones come together and then engage as we peel. Hold your bridge. You can press down into the floor with your hands if you need a little assist, but we're trying not to lift from our armpits or arch our back. We want our back to just be nice and relaxed. Good. Now just push a little bit more down into the floor with one foot. That's it. Do you notice how that glute connects more? And then instead of like that foot, just switch. Does it feel the same or does it feel different? And then again, back and forth a couple times. As long as you're not getting your back to do the work. So if you are, put your hands on your glutes and make sure that the upper fibers aren't doing all the work. We're not squeezing them together. We are pushing down to get the underbutt to do its job. And then we melt and roll all the way down. Good, sway your knees to one side and then the other side. Back and forth just a couple of times. And then come back to center. You can go ahead and move the ball to the side and we're going to grab our band. Now go ahead, you can either grab it with your thumbs or if you feel like you're having to really make a fist, you can wrap your hands a couple times. Now first, just let your fingertips reach to the sky, thinking more about your pinky finger almost hugging in. And even though, yes, your pecs do have to do this work, I want them not to overwork. So if you feel them just grip, relax, don't try to go as far. And then back down. Now, just notice the sensation that this causes in your body, okay? Now we're not changing the move, it's the same move, but the focus is going to be different. Now, as we reach our fingers up towards the sky and then our arms down, this time I want you to think of your shoulder blades moving. So they're drawing around your rib cage and then back. Drawing around the rib cage and back. Last one. Good. And back. Now, as the arm bones melt down, draw the shoulder blades down your back a fraction of an inch. Keep everything nice and wide, collarbones wide, bend your elbows out to the side. So elbows are going to touch the ground potentially, fingertips stay towards the sky. And then just straighten your elbows, arm bones stay on the ground. Think about pushing out slightly and then bend. Now, keep your wrists nice and strong. So if they're bending in, I need them nice and strong. So it's like a blade. And it's not about huge engagement. So if you're like really tight, you're really having to pull, widen your hands a little bit. It's about finding that nice scapular connection. Now hold this one. Keep your elbows right where they are. Keep your ribs in. We're just going to rotate until our hands are overhead a little bit, and then back to center, and then rotate down. You do not need to get your hands all the way down. And in fact, if you feel your shoulders start to move off the floor, that is your end range. So here, if your shoulder wants to come up and forward in order to get your hand down, cut your range. We're trying to keep everything nice and wide. Elbows stay in one place. Good. Keeping the wrists nice and strong. Hey, Daniela, give yourself a little bit less tension. Yeah. 2 more. Last one. And then bring your arms back to center. Now you're going to need less tension. Think about one of the arms being down, and then the other one thumbs up, 7 up, okay? Now the thumbs up, 7 up is the moving arm. The hand that's down, think about widening through your collarbone and pressing down from your tricep. So your tricep is active here. Now your thumb is going to spiral up and your shoulder blade is going to move around your back a little and then slowly come back. Think about your lower trapezius here, helping that shoulder blade upwardly rotate. Gravity can help as well. I don't really care if your arm gets all the way to the ground or not. 2 more. Last one. Come back. We're just going to switch arms. So push your other arm down into the ground from your tricep. So if you're pushing from your shoulder, relax the shoulder, widen your collarbone. Think of your elbow straightening to get you there. And then your shoulder blade is what is going to move. So yes, your arm is moving, but I want you to think more about your shoulder blade wrapping around your ribs in order to get that arm to move. We're trying to get lower traps involved. If we think about our arm moving, often our upper traps, which tend to be at the ready, will absolutely steam plow over the lower traps, which tend to be a little sleepier, right? Good. If this does not feel okay in your neck, get rid of the band. We have 2 more. Last one. Go ahead, bring your hands back, bring one leg at a time to tabletop. Now, before we do anything, squeeze your inner thighs together as if you're trying to pop a balloon. Think about pushing your feet away from you a little bit so your glutes and hamstrings kick on a little. Now we bring the band over our shins, flip the palms to face you, and start pushing down as if you were doing hundreds. Good. Now, maybe you lift your head. The palms facing each other, not the sky. Good. Now, if that feels good and you'd like to advance it, extend your legs with the band on your feet. It's way tricky. Oh no! And you have 5, breathe. 4, you can always put your head down, whatever you need. 2, 1, bring your knees in. Now, if the band is on your feet, great. If it's not, put it on your feet. We're going to extend our legs towards the sky. Good. And then just start to push your feet away and down slightly. And you can curl and lift, coming into teaser, easiest teaser ever. Good. And then roll back down. Let's try that again. So we're using our legs and the band to help us. If you need to, bend your arms. Yeah. Good. Just push down a little bit more, Daniela. Yeah, there you go. That was great. That was great. And then you can also extend your feet away from you and just curl. Yeah. So hopefully here, the band will give your hip flexors just a little assist so they don't have to do all the work. That was great. That was great. Teasers are really hard. Good. Last one. Yeah, yes. Good. Now, just for fun, maintain this. And we're going to curl our tailbone, rock back, and then try to hold. Now, this is an open leg rocker variation. And honestly, I think it's harder because you're not holding onto your legs. If you need to, grab your legs. Okay? If you're like, that's still really hard, Audra, hey, guess what? You can do rolling like a ball. If you're like, that's still really hard, don't worry about it. Come down, find a little pill bug position and just rock a little bit. It doesn't have to be big in order to be effective. Yeah, good. That's, give me just a couple more. 2. Last one. And then bring your feet down, relax over your legs. You guys did great, each and every one of you. Now, go ahead and sit back up. All right, first, before we do anything, think about, you can point your toes or flex your feet. I just want the band to be relatively comfortable around your feet. Now, feel your shoulder blades on your rib cage. Think about posteriorly tipping them slightly. So your shoulder blade itself is basically going to go boop. It's like a little imprint of the shoulder blade, tiny, not a big forced one. So just set the shoulders, widen through your collarbones, going to posteriorly tilt slightly through the shoulder blades. Now, slowly bend your elbows down and drag them behind you a little. Yeah. Now we're not going here, we're here, okay? And slowly let the band come back. If sitting upright like this is not the most comfortable thing in the world, you can bend your knees. If that's still not great, you can always sit on something like a yoga block. Good. Roll your, yes. And then lift your ears. Yeah. Here you go, elbows down, gorgeous. Think about your collarbones elevating a tiny bit. We're not lifting from the ribs. We're just not letting the collarbones compress. It's proud collarbones. Yeah. Stephanie, instead of bringing your hands towards your shoulders quite as much, think about your elbows reaching behind. Yeah, good. Do you feel your back a little bit more? Good. Heather, if you can, find your row. Hold, shoulders down, hands down a little. Yeah. Do you feel your back a little bit more? Yeah, good. 2 more. Good. Daniela, hold it back. Yeah. Good. Now we're just rowing with one arm. Hold. See where you feel this. Hopefully the same place. And then bring it back, other side. So the more you think of your shoulder blade posteriorly tipping, the more you think of that elbow kind of coming down as opposed to back, and the more you keep your head stacked, theoretically, the less your neck has to do. We shouldn't, in quotes, be feeling this in our neck. And by shouldn't, I mean, yes, your neck has to work because it's part of your body. But if you feel it doing all the work, see if you can get out of that. Maybe you don't pull back as far. Good. And now we're going to add rotation. It's so exciting. Rotate. And back. Press it down and back. Rotate. Good. Now, if you're feeling excited and you're like, yeah, this is cool and all, but where's the ab work? Well, you can curl back, hold, curl forward. Yeah. Curl back, hold, and then curl forward. You could also curl halfway back and maintain this position if you like. Everybody's body is different. Everybody's needs are different. We have just a couple more. 3, 2. Last one. Each side. Hands forward. If you are upright, curl back. Now, all we're going to do is a bicep and extend. On your bicep curl, keep your elbows relatively still. See if you can find that connection between your feet, inner thighs, and deep abdominals. So exhale, find your abs as well as your biceps. If you need more tension, great. Exhale. Everyone feel a little bit more ab when they exhale and bend their elbows? You can give me a thumbs up if you don't feel like you can talk. Okay, good. That's fair. 3, 2, last one, hold. Bring your arms up and then forward. Bring your arms in and restack. So, yeah. So this is going to be a variation of one of the rowing exercises on the reformer. So hands to your heart. We're going to curl back. We're going to bring those hands up, and forward, and restack. Now, it's exciting, isn't it? Yeah, shoulders, hands up, and then forward. Now there is a more exciting variation, but it is trickier on the shoulder. So if you are like, I want to try it, just make sure that it doesn't feel bad on your shoulder, okay? We're going to extend the hands, flip the palms, press the hands back. Now bring them up and around to restack. Yeah. It's like rowing 2 or something. Yeah. Yeah. And then we bring it back. You said you hate it? You don't have to do this one. Oh, yeah, that's fair. And then up and around. Good. 2 more. Hands out, flip them back, dive forward, up and around. Now, if that's not working for you, please, 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 we've got 2 more, you guys. Just stick with a bicep curl. You can bring those arms up. If that doesn't feel good, guess what? You can just bicep curl forward, okay? No problem. If you need to, bicep curl forward only. If you need to, bicep curl and then lift. Or you can flip those palms coming into that internal rotation, flip them up and around and restack. Nice work, you guys. We're going to slide this underneath us, and we're going to give it a little bow. Okay, so we're just going to give it a little tie, a little bow, because you're a gift. Yeah. And then we're going to bring our feet into the band. And lie back. Now, if you're like, oh, this is still pretty big, I would like it a little bit tighter because it's kind of mimicking mini bands a little bit. So think of a mini band width and get relatively close to there. We're going to bring our feet to tabletop. Now, Hands can be against the knees as well, because we're going to push with our feet and knees slightly out. Then hands behind our head, curl forward. You can always bring your hands forward to lift a little higher. Push one foot away and then let it fold in. Other side. Reach that foot far, far away and then fold it in. Now, could you have your head down? Yes, always. If your head is down and you need more support, first and foremost, focus on your breath. Your diaphragm should really be helping you. If you need more support, press down into your hands. Now, if you like, we can add rotation here. So rotate towards that front leg. Couple more. Now, if you've got a thicker band, it could be a lot on hip flexors, so feel free to ditch the band if it gets to be too much. But what we're trying to do is use the tension of the band to find hamstring a little bit, and then using the tension of the band to help your hip flexor relax on the way in. On the way out, though, the hip flexor will have to work a little bit with your abs. Everybody doing okay? Good, we got 3, 2, last one. Go ahead, head down, feet up. Now, place your hands on your hips, like thumbs in that TFL, hands along the glute. So what we don't want is the TFL to do all the work. So if you have to rotate your legs a little bit, that's okay. We're just going to push the feet apart a little and let them come together a little. If you need, you can absolutely have your knees bent. If that's still a bit much, bring the band to your knees, feet on the ground, press out that way. But big toe mound stays down. Right? No problem, we're still trying to get that TFL not to do all the work. Whichever variation you're doing, right? Good, we have 5, 4, 3, 2, hold, and hold, hold. Bend your knees, hands behind your thighs, roll all the way up. Now we're going to turn onto our side. You have options, you guys. You can get rid of the band or you can keep using it. It's up to you. I've just really twisted myself up in this. Now we're coming onto our side. We've got a ball, which means we can absolutely use this as a pillow. Now take your top hip bone, roll it forward a little bit. It doesn't have to be a crazy range, just a little bit forward of the bottom one. Untuck your tailbone so we're not in a slouched position. Widen through your sits bones, and then think of that bottom rib lifting. Now, keep the sits bones wide. Bring the knee and foot up. Yeah. So it's an abduction, and slowly let it come down. Good. Slowly come down. Nice job, you guys. Now pay attention to what your foot and knee are doing. A lot of times, if our TFL is like way more active than our glute, we tend to keep that foot way higher than the knee. I want you to keep them relatively even, possibly the knee a fraction of a millimeter higher than the foot if possible. 2 more knee higher than the foot if possible. Yep. Last one, hold. Now bring your hand against the knee and just let your foot start to come down. Now, let that foot come down more, and that is your range for clamshell. Slowly lower the knee, rotate up. Now, if you're like, oh, but now the band isn't doing anything, you can always move it up or you can keep it where it was. Okay. But with this clamshell, we're trying to initiate from back here rather than here. Okay, so back pocket initiates, spirals that thigh bone in the socket. Good. 3, trying not to let the hip bones move. They're still pointing forward. Don't worry about if the knee points towards the sky or not. Last one. And then extend the leg away from you. Extend it so much that it kind of leverages your ribs. Good. And bring the heel slightly behind you. Good. And Daniela, rotate your ribs slightly forward. Yeah, the heel stays where it was. Yeah, gorgeous. Now paintbrush the foot up, squeegee it down. Paintbrush it up, squeegee it down. Now, as the foot lifts, if it is coming forward, that is your TFL trying to create a little bit of drama, right? So we're going to try to keep that leg exactly in line with where we were. Try not to hyperextend through your knee. Yeah. Let your ankle relax. Yeah. Does that feel slightly more? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Heather, rotate your hip bone a little bit more towards Daniela. Bring your heel back a little towards Stephanie. Yeah. And then maintain that if you can. Yeah, right there. Good. Last one. And then we're just going to do tiny little circles. 5, 4, 3, 2, good. And reverse your circles. Beautiful, everybody. 4, 3, 2, and then bring your knees together. Smack that hip out. Now, before we move on, you can either maintain using the ball as a pillow, or you can use your arm. We're going to get some rotation. So bring your arm forward, rotate your ribs, and then slowly bring it back. When you get to a point where your body is going to change shapes, like right here, my back wants to arch to get me there. So instead, I'm going to let my hips slide back with me and then come forward. So it is okay to let your hips move. It's okay to let your knees move. We're just trying not to arch our back to get the rotation. It's not bad to arch your back. It's not even bad to arch your back with rotation. However, if our erector spinae muscles are overly excited, a lot of times it will cause us to arch with rotation, and we just want to let them relax. Last one. Nice job, everybody. Guess what? Other side. So go ahead, flip yourselves over. And if you want, you can bring that band back down. If you want to keep it right where it is, that's fine too. Let's find our position, because setup is everything, right? Let that hip bone rotate forward slightly and slide away from your face so your bottom rib lifts and widen through your sits bones. So almost think about just sticking your booty out a little bit. Yeah. Now keep those sits bones wide, and we A-B duct. So check out where you went. If your hips rocked or your foot is leading the charge, see if you can keep slightly more external rotation. It's really not about external rotation, but if your tendency is internal rotation, then biasing towards the opposite way. Good. Nancy, lift your bottom ribs more, stick your booty out a little. Yeah. Is that more exciting? Yeah. You are welcome. How's everyone feeling? Good. Couple more. 3, 2. Last one we get to hold. And all we're going to do is let that foot come down. Hold. and then let it come all the way down. So this is your range, okay? And then let the knee come down, find your range, rotating from the back. And if you want, of course, you can bring that band back up if it wasn't already. Good. Still unwinding the hips, still trying to keep them pointing forward like little finger guns, right? Good. Nice job, everybody. 4. We're almost there. 3. Good. How's that top cheek? Doing all right? Heather, untuck your tailbone just a little bit. Like stick your booty out a little. Yeah, and then, but rotate your top knee forward. Yeah. Yeah, that was great. How did that feel? I'm sorry. Good. Now, extend that top leg, making sure it hasn't slid forward. And we want that hip bone to still be pointed ahead. Let the foot dangle and we paintbrush it up. Squeegee it down. Little paintbrush, little squeegee. 2 more. Once again, if at any point you need a break, take a break. It's all fine. You have 4, 3. Good. Last one. And then we do little circles. So whether you start with the circle forward or back, Daniela, bring your heel back a little bit more. Yeah. Good. And then we reverse our circles. Just letting that thigh bone stir freely in the socket. Good. 2. And then bend your knees. You can either use the ball as a pillow, the pillow as a pillow, or just your arm. You're going to get that rotation. So rotate forward. And then when you get to that point where your body wants to change shape, just hold for a second. Inhale, exhale, let your hip come with you. Let your body relax. So you know how I always talk about how a safe nervous system is a happy nervous system? I actually found out some cool information about fascia that makes a lot of sense. I'll tell you after if you're interested, because otherwise the whole rest of the time I'm just going to be geeking out about fascia facts. Two more. Last one. And then we get to come on to all fours. Now, if you want to ditch the band, you can, it's fine. You can always be on your fists, your forearms, or your hands. We're going to begin with a little baby bit of spinal articulation. Well, first, just press everything up to the sky and then sink everything down. And when you sink everything down, you can let your back arch a little. Yeah, and then when you press up, think about a Halloween cat, and then other direction, yeah. And just see where your body wants to move from, right? So sometimes when we do Halloween cat, we get all of our rounding through thoracic only, or sometimes our lumbar is what wants to do more work. And then when you extend, see where the extension is from, right? So if you've got a lot of extension in your lumbar, chances are your thoracic's not doing it. Or if you are missing extension in your lumbar, chances are your thoracic is trying to help a lot. So just notice what parts of your spine are doing the work. Now come back to center. Try to keep your thoracic right where it is. Just let your tailbone melt down like Salvador Dali's clock. Let your hip bones come up. Let your belly button lift. Start to press into your hands so you can round your upper back a little. Now keep your thoracic where it is. Keep pressing into your hands, widen through your sits bones. Let your hip bones unwind. Let your belly button sink down. Then allow your spine to undulate up. One more each direction. Curl. We're just trying to get intersegmental control. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then widen. Then come back to center. Now, keeping your spine straight, we're going to let our shoulder blades come together. And then keeping our spine in neutral, let your shoulder blades come apart. One more, sink your spine down so the shoulder blades can retract. And then push the floor away as you widen through your collarbones. Slide one foot out, fold it in. Other side. See if your body is trying to shift. If it is, use your breath. You can push your knee down and out. Push down into the ground here with your toes. So we're actually coming into dorsiflexion. So when we slide down, our heel is pressing away from us. Good. And then when you're ready, hold, float your other knee up. Tap it down, slide it in, slide the foot out, hover the knee, tap it down. Good. Couple more. And down. If this is not working for you, don't have to lift the knee, just imagine lifting it. Now we slide the foot out, other foot comes to meet it. And hold. And breathe. Good. Lengthening through your ears. Belly button's lifting up. Gentle tuck of your tailbone. Good. Daniela and Heather, lift your hip bones just a little bit. Yeah, good. And then you can bring your knees down. Press yourselves into a rest position. Go ahead. Slide your elbows in. If this is not a comfortable position for you, you can always be here. You can always be here. We're just going to get a little active rotation to go with our passive rotation. So slide one arm out to the side. Flip your palm so it faces forward. Think about that shoulder blade drawing or resetting. Now suction cup that arm into the socket. It is not leading the charge. You are rotating your ribs. The arm will just come with you. It's not going behind us. And then down. Just think about the thumb coming along for the ride. So your thumb is in line with your shoulder. It's going to stay in line with your shoulder. If it goes back and you don't rotate, you now know you just got to the end point of your rotation. Good. Yeah. Hey, Elizabeth. Instead of your hand being quite as far down and back, it's kind of going here. Bring it in your peripheral vision. Yeah. Keep it. Yeah, there. That looks better. Does that feel a little better? Okay. It is hard. It is hard. You can also keep the elbow bent if the arm extended is too much. Then we get to do the other side. So arm out, palm forward, suction cup the shoulder. The arm just comes along for the ride. It is not leading the charge. Don't actually necessarily try to get the arm to the sky. What we are focusing on is pushing our elbow into the ground, rotating our rib cage off our spine. All the arm is a marker. Two more. Last one. And then come back. We're coming onto our stomach real quickly. Now, think about drawing the armpits down. You are dragging the arms down through wet sand. Now push both the hands and the elbows into the ground to get a little bit of length through the crown of your head. Think about drawing your ribs down towards your belly button. And then exhale, float the arms up, come down. In order to come back up, we are still pushing down to get us that lift and then float our arms. So we're not lifting our arms and legs and torso at the same time because we're trying to bypass our erectors. So push down into the ground, then lift, hold. So you really shouldn't be feeling your low back here too much. Now, just for fun, this time, lift to your extension, but keep your hands off the floor. Do you feel how that's back, like bigger, longer sausage muscles? Yeah. Now come down. Now let's try it with the hands. Push into the ground. Yeah. And then lift. See how it's less tension in the back, theoretically? Because we're trying to find lat, glute, and multifidus. And bring your arms forward. And you can just flutter kick your legs, hands on the ground. Good. Now, you can bring your legs down and flutter kick your arms. See how that feels. Is it harder with the legs or harder with the arms? And then you can either do slow crisscross or everything hovers. 2, 1, press yourselves into a rest position. Nice job. Hands up and over to one side. Press your hips away. And then other side. We're going to come all the way up to standing. And if you still are wearing the band, now is the perfect opportunity to take it off. Now, I want you to come onto the solid floor, unless your balance is really, really fantastic and you want to be on the unstable surface. Now, as you're standing, just stand quietly. And without thinking, oh, I have to balance, I just want you to feel your body's natural postural sway. So if your feet are pretty wide, you're not going to sway as much. Feet closer together, you will. And just notice how as we breathe and as we stand, we gently sway a little from side to side, right? If you're like, I don't feel that, that's okay. Close your eyes and just focus on your breath. And notice if you can start to feel that gentle side to side movement, yeah? Yeah. It's funny, I see you looking for it, but I can see it. Yeah. Yeah, it's subtle. It's very, very subtle. Now, we're just going to push our feet into the ground, right? See if you can find a little bit more activation. And if you have trouble feeling your feet, actually like rub your foot on your pants or rub your foot on the floor and kind of see if you can activate some of the receptors in your feet. And then notice if you push into the ground and connect, there is less of that postural sway, right? Yeah. Now, push into the floor with one foot, you can lift the other. And hold. Now, if that feels good and easy, you can always take your head from side to side. If you're like, tap your toe down. See if that helps, right? One more each side. And hold. Now, if you need to tap that toe down, that's fine. We're going to nod our chin all the way up to the front of our body. Let our arms dangle. See if we can roll down a little bit. You don't have to get to the ground. And then roll back up. Other side. So push down into the ground. Find the activation through the foot, the calf, the hamstring, the glute. See how you feel. Maybe this is easier. Maybe it's harder. This is my trickier side. And then maybe you turn your head from side to side. Maybe you don't. And then come back to center. If it feels appropriate, you can keep that foot elevated. You can tap that toe down. We're gonna nod, hollow, roll it down. And then roll it back up, letting your arms dangle, your head dangle. Come all the way, flip your palms to the sky, open your collarbones. And then relax straight down. Nice job today, guys. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you so much for joining me.